Do you ever wish you could find time to help your children nurture their talents when you're lucky if they have clean underwear and a mediocre dinner before 7 p.m.? Well, today we're going to explore easy strategies for nurturing our children's gifts and passions in under 30 minutes a week, discovering how to ensure that it's their passion and not ours, and how to provide ownership and independence, all while making it fun and rewarding. Not only that, but we're going to talk about the massive benefits that may surprise you that ripple out to others as well. Stay tuned, my friends. Hey parents, welcome to Fulfillment Therapy. Do you want to raise your kids better and have a stronger marriage? Are you up late at night researching marriage and parenting tools and self-care tips? Do you start each day hoping for deeper connections and less chaos, but it ends with family arguments and going 12 different directions again? My name's Kendra, wife, mom, therapist, and growth enthusiast. It wasn't until I discovered how to fulfill my unmet needs that I was finally able to show up as my best self as a spouse and parent. I realized that by meeting my needs, I could more fully meet the needs of my family with more energy and less resentment. In this podcast, I teach parents skills like boundary setting, prioritizing personal needs, communication, and claiming ownership. Just like my clients, you'll be shocked by the improvement in your marriage, parenting, and personal life when you focus on fulfilling your important unmet needs. Ready to prioritize yourself so you can quit mentally throat punching people? Then grab those earbuds and head outside, and let's walk and talk. Welcome back to episode 125, Raising Confident Kids, Building Self-Esteem Through Talent Development in 30 Minutes a Week. I'm so excited to talk about this today. It is something that I am quite passionate about, and honestly, probably my favorite thing about parenting. I love to help my kids discover and hone their interests and their talents, which honestly, their interests eventually lead to talents because that's where they put all their focus. And it's so much fun to watch them gravitate towards different things and then watch what happens when you give them wings to fly. That reminds me of a quote that I love by Gordon B. Hinckley that he spoke about concerning his wife. And he said in his book, "In our old age, my beloved companion said to me quietly one evening, 'You have always given me wings to fly, and I have loved you for it.'" And I have always thought about that throughout my marriage, and it's something that I hoped that I could get from my husband in certain ways. And I was always thinking about how other people could do that for me, but really, how are we doing that for others? How are we giving our kids wings to fly? I've also been thinking about this lately as my clients have come in and talked about how they've been trying to help their children nurture their gifts, but have felt kind of stuck. It feels way too overwhelming. And it just caused me to think about what I'm doing in my own life with my own children. I'm going to give you one quick example. So my daughter likes to make money, my 10-year-old, and she asked for ways to earn money. But since she's only 10, we're a little limited, like she can't really go get a job very easily or anything like that. I decided to teach her on a deeper level what she can do that was beyond maybe just a lemonade stand that we've done before. So together we designed a logo and we printed out some copies for her little ad that she had made. And we bought a blanket and cut out these felt squares or these felt letters that say bake sale in huge letters. And I just did all these extra things to help her, but in small amounts each week. These little bids in our relationship and this connection for something she was interested in. I printed out an income and expense form for her, and I taught her how to track everything. And then each week we explore how we can grow her business even more. So this is from finding things like holiday sales to buy treats instead of just baking them, or finding better supplies to help with her baking or even her display. And we printed out this big yard sign and we're putting it up, and also putting things on the table for people to sign up for reminders or anything like that. Just getting her buy-in and helping her grow that interest by collaborating with her and getting her ideas, and also teaching her things instead of talking at her. And I also really try to have her take the lead after I train her, so that it's her thing and not my thing, but I do it in a fun way that doesn't feel like work to her. Okay, now before I go into how you can do that, I just want to briefly mention one-on-one coaching and our coming courses. We have 3 courses that will be coming. Depending on how the summer goes, one may be available or maybe all 3 will be available, but it's going to start with igniting your personal growth. So a personal growth course, and it's going to build on that. And then it's going to be improving your marriage and improving your parenting. So those are coming, and they are going to be very focused on what you can do in likely 12 weeks to improve your personal life and take it to the next level in ways that are transformational. So stay tuned for that information that will be coming out. All right, now let's talk more about talent development in your children. Especially in the season of summer, we have more time flexibility. The kids might be a little bored or a lot bored, and there is opportunity for this, especially if it takes your kids away from screens, right? How do you nurture your child's gifts or your children's gifts in a way that creates a lasting impact and gives you some of those benefits that I'll talk about in just a minute? When we help children develop their talents, we teach them independence and this self-discovery and this curiosity. Margaret Mead said, "Children must be taught how to think, not what to think." When I first read that, I was like, what does that mean? You're teaching them this way to look at the world, but not like, no, you have to think this way and this way and this way, which can lead to shame, like if you're not exactly doing it in this way. But the process of thinking and exploring and growing and learning about the world is the way that I took that. When I listen to parents as they come in and talk about what they're doing with their children, I often see that parents are either a helicopter parent, where they take over way too much and they take away that confidence from their children and they make it so it's not very fun. So how can we make sure that when we're doing this, we're making it their own and not hijacking it? Well, first you start out by making sure that it stems from their genuine interests and not your own aspirations. Remember in that example when I talked about my daughter and wanting to make money? Well, I didn't start that by saying, hey, I want you to make money. This is something she came to me about, and then I encouraged that exploration and that experimentation, and we did that together. And again, small bite-sized things. These were very little bids throughout the week that we just spent a few minutes after school, maybe every other day or something like that. And as soon as I taught her, like that training period might take a little bit more, but then I gave her the reins. I did not do it for her. So explore that. Are you too controlling with your kids? Well, I've mentioned this probably 100 episodes before, but I grew up with 6 siblings, and back then, that outdoor community and free play was more of a thing. And I saw myself as a lost boy, as someone that grew up with a lot of freedom and exploration and curiosity and just beauty in a lot of ways in that regard. And especially after my dad died, like I was just outside a lot and I played a lot. I had room to explore my curiosity. And I don't think kids get that chance today as much. It's very structured, or it's very much indoors. There's not a lot of movement. It's often on a screen. And there is good, but I see that a lot with my clients when they talk about how their kids are being raised, and even honestly with my own sometimes. So kids are not exploring as much. So kids need more exploration and opportunities to develop their curiosity and their interests. Do you give your kids the chance to experiment, even when it's messy? This is hard for me too. I'm thinking about all the times they want to make forts with like 40 blankets and then they forget to put it away. Or even paints or instruments. there's even a podcast episode I was listening to about how it's important to even let them use things like power tools and saws and hammers. And a lot of parents would feel a lot of anxiety about that. But this is something that was pretty mainstream 50 years ago, 100 years ago. Like, it's only recently that we've become so terrified of letting them do anything that could potentially be harmful that we're going to the other extreme. I want to share another quick story. So my oldest daughter created this music culture for our family, and that began when she expressed an interest in dance when she was probably 2 years old. And now, all these years later, she's amazing in anything related to performing arts. And she's an incredible ballroom dancer and a violinist, a singer. And in the last few years, she's even come to love theater so much. And it all began with nurturing a little girl's dancing dream. So think about that for a minute. You might be really focused on that one thing, like, oh, I do not have time or money, whatever it is, to take my little girl to dance. It doesn't even matter. She's 2 years old. You know, those kinds of things. And I'm not telling you you have to go sign your kids up for everything. That's not it. It's just, if they're really passionate about something or they have this curiosity, it may become the thing that changes your family culture forever, and not even just yours, but for generations to come. I never expected we would be a music family because I play piano, I would say maybe poorly. And I wasn't prepared for that being our culture, and yet it completely is. Now I want to fast forward about 15 years and a few kids, and that little time that I spent nurturing her talents now ripples out and affects her siblings. So her love of music and performing arts now affects them. Our sons don't really like to perform music much at this point or anything, but my teenage son loves band so much that he plays instrumental music for fun and totally nerds out about new pieces they're learning at school. And he always wants to talk about it and wants to play them for me, even though I don't really have much interest in instrumental music or have that background at all. But he even used his meager money supply, because he doesn't have a job or anything, to buy drumsticks and a drum pad as an additional instrument to learn, even though he won't be able to play it at school. And that's just one child, and that's just one moment. And I, again, think about those ripple effects. How is this going to affect the other children? How is this going to affect his children? And on and on and on. Albert Schweitzer said, "Success is not the key to happiness. Happiness is the key to success. If you love what you're doing, you'll be successful." And I want you to think about that in relation to your children. How are we helping them find that success? What makes them happy? What makes them shine? What makes their souls sing? I ask that to my clients all the time. What makes your soul sing? And we make a big list, and I love watching them light up as they consider those things and as they just beam when they talk about the thing that brings beauty into their lives. With my children, I help them picture a future where they nurture their talents and their interests, and I help them visualize what it could look like with focus and determination. This is so much fun for me. I want you to picture how that could be fun for you and how you can make that a connecting ritual with your children, a way to bond with them, a way to support them, a way for them to feel loved and attended to by you. And that puts those bids into that relationship that will last forever, that they will remember looking back how you supported them and you loved them and you're excited to help them. And you could do it in such a short time. Okay, let's talk about ownership and independence for a minute. Empower your child by giving them ownership in what they're doing. And I already mentioned this a little bit, but instead of doing it for them, teach them how to do it themselves. Remember how I talked about benefits? Well, a few of those major benefits are that it fosters independence and resilience. And this is important for lifelong learning and growth. Remember, my friends, the goal is to equip them with these skills so that they can have the confidence to pursue their dreams independently. So even after they leave, we don't want them to be couch potatoes, right? And just gamers their whole lives where they live in our basements. Of course not. Some other benefits is that this also decreases their chance of being overly anxious. Now, anxiousness is a part of the human experience oftentimes, but when you believe in your kids and you don't act like a helicopter parent, again, like I talked about earlier, they begin to believe in themselves through those experiences. And as you continually believe in them and put forth those bids, does that make sense? Now, going back to the story of my younger daughter, I don't sit out there while my daughter sells those baked goods. I don't record her transactions. I don't do her marketing. I don't bake her baked goods unless she's running late and frantic and might need a little bit of help. But I just check in and I ask her questions and I remind her of her why. And I help her focus on her gains and her wins while still validating her struggles or hard work or different things. But we overall just focus on the fun and the adventure of what she's doing and how far she's made it and how she's created this thriving business. And she largely does this on her own because we have that dialogue more and more. Learning should be an enjoyable experience for your child. So incorporate those elements of play and creativity as you help them with these things. So this can be anything from music or sports or art. Put that sense of discovery into it. Here's another quote for you by Dennis Waitley. The greatest gifts you can give your children are the roots of responsibility and the wings of independence. So exactly what I just talked about. You're teaching them responsibility and giving them that independence, but in this fun way that helps you connect and that nurtures something they're already passionate about. So they're going to have way more buy-in than something you're like, no, you're going to learn piano whether you like it or not. Instead, oh, I noticed you really love this thing. Well, let's do something about it. Another quick story. My daughter plays piano a lot, but since we stopped lessons, because she was focusing more on gymnastics, another talent she has, she's been playing those few songs that she learned from piano a while ago, so much that my boys asked that I teach her something else. They just could not tolerate those songs anymore, but she was so dedicated in playing them all the time, even months and months after she took lessons. Well, I thought about it for a while, and I knew I only had so much time, like so many of you, and I couldn't do a big time investment to help her develop that talent of piano that she loved. And I didn't want to commit to something too big that I would resent too, because that would just backfire and we both end up hating it. Well, somebody had told me about this app called Musician, like Y-O-U, Musician. And it's this app where you can learn almost anything. So that's, I think, singing and guitar and piano and ukulele and things like that. Well, I first got her buy-in and then I helped her set this realistic goal. She wanted to learn more piano. She's wanted to for a while, but we try to limit their activities somewhat so they're not doing so much. And we set this goal for her to play an instrument for 1 hour a day after school, Monday through Friday. And she chose the piano, but unfortunately, our piano is so out of tune that we could not get the app to work. So then she picked the ukulele. I'm just going to say ukulele, but I learned it's actually ukulele. Anyway, we had one of those at home already, and she's been doing it on her own. We also set a reward for her. Now, this can look different ways, and there's a lot of schools of thought on this, what's right, what's not right. But I thought, you know what, I'm willing to invest $50 if she consistently on her own practices 1 hour a day, 5 days a week, and does that for 1 month because of the major benefits. She's off of screens. She's developing a talent that could ripple into other things. This is what she really loves, and this might help her hone in on what she really likes. So I was willing to invest in that. And that's not even something she asked for. I just wanted to really ignite that fire that first month when it's really hard. So I told her I would give her $50 after 1 month of practicing if she could document each day that she did it, and she got to 30 days. So we talked about that, and she's been doing it, and she's sometimes frustrated because she doesn't like that it takes her so long to learn a new instrument, but she is determined, and she doesn't fight with me on it because it's fun. It's something that she's wanted to do for a while. She loves music, and I really enjoy watching her thrive and watching her grow and develop a new talent. I also told her that if she does that for 1 month, at the end of the month, I'll help her set up a YouTube channel for her to record her own performances, and we'll get that really dialed in, just like we have done with that bake sale. And we also bought her a cheap planner, and we mapped out the month for her with all of her practices, and then for that extra accountability, I just initial each spot every time she practices so that she's keeping in that habit of getting that extra accountability to do that. So that is one possibility of something that you could do. But remember, make it fun. Don't overexert yourself. Don't be a helicopter parent and do it all for them. Maybe initially you need to be more present, but just set aside a few minutes on a few days a week to build this up for them and to talk with them, and then have those little check-ins, like, how are you doing with that? What are your wins? What do you love about it? What do you imagine happening if you keep doing this? And just have those conversations that ignite that fire within them. Remember to reward their efforts with that praise and that encouragement, and focus on their perseverance and their dedication. This also reminded me of positive parenting and something that I talked about before, but how it's so much more effective to praise effort over performance, because it allows them to focus on the positive things and things that they can control rather than other things that they might feel more pressure to do. Like if it's just all about their performance instead of the effort, that can be a lot of pressure for a child. So just keep that in mind. Remember to ask your kids for ideas on what they think would help them progress and grow. What do they think would help them achieve what they want? And that can be small, that can be big. And remember just to always go back to their vision and their why, and ask them if that changes at all, what they imagine for the future. And sometimes when kids are younger, this can be harder for them to really understand their vision or their why. So you might be able to help them knowing their personality. And with time, it just becomes very natural. All right, just a couple last thoughts. It's really important to lead by example, my friends. I know most of you are parents, and when you get hyper-focused on helping others, it's easy to neglect yourself. Well, it's important that you also set aside time each week to nurture your own interests and talents and show your children the importance of lifelong learning and that self-improvement. I know I've talked about it before, but I play pickleball. I do entrepreneurial work that I love so much. I exercise. And some of those are self-care and some of those are nurturing a talent, a skill. For a while, I was doing guitar, but I was doing too many things, so I had to carve that out for a little while or shave that off for a little while. But I'm still continuing to develop my talent of Spanish. I think I'm on day 260, and I was doing it before then, but I have this streak where I haven't missed a day in all of that time, and it's just small. Sometimes it's 5 minutes a day, sometimes 10 minutes a day. It's not a lot, and yet I continue to work at that. Remember, the best way to inspire your child is to embody those values and those behaviors if you want to instill them in your children. Parents, we have this incredible opportunity to shape our children's futures by nurturing their unique gifts and passions. When we provide them with that guidance and that support and that encouragement, we really do empower them to reach their full potential and lead them to a more fulfilling life. Remember, it's not about just giving them fish every night for dinner, but it's guiding them and teaching them how to fish so that they are more independent and capable. And as an extra bonus, besides just being less anxious and all those other benefits that I talked about, they're going to be more confident, they're going to be happier, and they're going to be off those pointless screens that do nothing but turn our brain to mush oftentimes. And they are going to be more fulfilled. Friends, this is important, and it is a beautiful, important work. Best of luck to you as you nurture your children's talents and interests. I promise you, you'll be able to do this in under 30 minutes a week, and I'm going to rapid fire 10 tips before we close on how you can do that. Here they are, so listen closely. Number 1, listen attentively. Pay attention to your child's interests and passions by actively listening to what excites and sparks their curiosity. Number 2, encourage exploration. Provide those opportunities for your child to explore different activities and those hobbies to discover what resonates with them. Number 3, provide resources. Offer them books, offer them materials or tools or whatever they need to help them dive deeper into what they are interested in. Number 4, attend their events. I talked mostly about my girls, but I go to my son's tennis matches right now because that's what he's interested in, and his band things, and all of my children, I try to do those things regularly. So take them to events and to workshops and classes, whatever it is. I recently took my daughter to Annie because she was interested in performing arts. Number 5, offer praise. Celebrate your child's efforts and achievements, offering them praise and encouragement, especially for their efforts, remember. And that really will fuel their confidence and their motivation. Number 6, set aside dedicated time. So schedule that regular time for your child to engage in their interests without distractions and allow them to focus on the thing that they are interested in so they can immerse themselves more fully. For example, I do this with my daughter every day right after she comes home from school for 1 hour, and we don't do any screens until after dinner for a short time. You don't have to do it like that, but that's how we do it. Number 7, be patient. Understand that mastery takes time and practice, and be patient with your child as they navigate the learning process and overcome those challenges. Number 8, provide support. This is, remember, without control or any of those things, but a loving, fun support. Offer that guidance and assistance when they need it, but allow your child to take the lead in pursuing their interests and finding solutions to obstacles instead of doing it all for them. Number 9, foster creativity. Encourage your child to think outside the box and express themselves creatively through their chosen talent or interest. And the last one, as always, lead by example. Demonstrate your own passion for learning and growth so that will model for them that lifelong commitment to nurturing talents and pursuing interests. My friends, remember how it all goes back to ripples. The things that we do will ripple out and affect not only our children, but our grandchildren or our neighbors or our friends. Don't forget the impact that you hold. Best of luck in your journey in this way. And I know, I believe, I see this, that this raises confident kids and builds that self-esteem. And that's something that we all want. Take care, my friends, and I'll see you next time. Hey friends, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, chances are someone else would too. Would you take 30 seconds to share this with a friend who's looking for greater family fulfillment? And while you're sharing, tell me what you think about the show by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts. It refuels me when I hear this podcast is helping you. No matter what your house or your hair looks like, I'll meet you back here every Monday and Thursday morning for more episodes. Until then.